In September 2025, the government announced a bombshell, a plan to merge Ghana's two smallest telecom operators, AT and Telecel, to create a new, stronger competitor. It was a bold, drastic move to fix a broken market, but now it is November and the merger hasn't happened. What was announced as a done deal has now stalled, mired in controversy, accusations, and a full-blown political war. This is no longer a simple business merger, it is a fight for the future of a strategic national asset. On one side, the government arguing this merger is the only way to save a dying company and create a true challenger to the giant MTN. On the other side, the parliamentary opposition is demanding a full inquiry and pointing to a different deal, a $150 million rescue package from a Canadian firm that the government allegedly ignored. So, what is really going on? Is this a rescue mission or a heist? To understand the chances of today, you have to understand the tragic history of the company at the center of it all. This is the story of AT, formerly Airtel-Tigo, and the billion-dollar graveyard of Ghanaian telecoms. My name is Happy Amera. Let's get right into it. Now, to understand why the government is so desperate to do something, you need to know what AT is. It is not just a company, it is a zombie. It itself is a product of a previously failed merger. Now, let me take you back in 2017. Tigo and Airtel, both struggling, fused together to try and build a stronger number 3. If you don't know what number 3 means, MTN being the main market shareholder, being number 1, Telecel or the then Vodafone was number 2, and then this was number 3. But it didn't work. They couldn't compete with MTN's scale, and more importantly, they couldn't touch its dominance in mobile money. By 2021, their global parent companies, Millicom and Bharti Airtel, gave up. They wrote off their investments and handed the entire company with all its debts to the government of Ghana for the symbolic price of just $1. The government became the 100% owner of a failing telco. They inherited the staff, the subscribers, and all the crashing debt as well. And that debt is still the time bomb that is ticking. Now, according to the Ministry of Communication, in the first 8 months of this year, 2025, AT lost over $10 million. That is taxpayers' money being used to keep a dying company on life support. Now, the breaking point came on September 1st, 2025, where the American Tower Corporation, ATC, which owns most of the physical towers AT uses, had enough. AT owed them over $150 million, and so they began shutting off power to AT's sites. This was a force majeure, an emergency, with 3.3 million subscribers about to lose their service. The government had to act. The National Communications Authority, short the NCA, ordered immediate national roaming agreement. This is a key technical detail. This wasn't a merger. It was an emergency patch, and so AT's 3.3 million subscribers were merged onto Telecel's network. And so if you're wondering why of late the Telecel network has become so bad, just know that a dying company's 3.3 million subscribers has been added to the infrastructure of Telecel, and so there is extra load on it. So think of it like your landlord evicting you and your neighbor letting you sleep on their couch whilst you figure out your life. Now, it was in the middle of this crisis on September 4th that the government announced its long-term solution. We are just going to make it permanent. We'll merge AT with Telecel. And that is when all hell broke loose. You cannot talk about this merger, this controversy, or any part of Ghana's telecom industry without talking about the one company that defines the entire market, MTN. MTN is not just a market leader. In many ways, it is the market itself. Let's just look at the numbers from the NCA. This dominance creates a network effect that is almost impossible to break. All your friends are on MTN, so calls are cheaper. Every shop uses Momo, and so you need to have a Momo account, and this makes it a monopoly in all but name. The government knew this was a problem, and so back in 2020, the NCA designated MTN as a significant market player, or SMP. The goal of the SMP was to level the playing field, apply corrective measures that will give the smaller players a fighting chance. It is now 5 years, and MTN market share is, if not the same, stronger. The SMP policy, by practical measures, has failed. So the government is on to plan B. If you can't weaken the giant, you must strengthen his opponent. And that is the one thing both sides of the debate agree on. This disagreement is how. This is the heart of the fight. Two completely different versions for saving AT. Let's break down the arguments. First, the government's plan. Merge AT with Telecel. Now, the government's argument is that AT's problem is not just money. It is skill. Giving AT $150 million is like giving a critically ill patient a vitamin shot. It doesn't cure the disease. Their logic, by merging AT, which has 8% of the market share, with Telecel, which has 18% of the market share, you instantly create a new combined entity with 26% of the market. This new Telecel, or I don't know what they will call it, but then let me know if you have a better idea. AT plus Telecel, what would be the best name? Let me know in the comment section. This new company would have a subscriber base and a combined network infrastructure that the market presence can actually compete with the big giants. It argues that this new company could then attract the real capital it needs. The government has quoted a figure of around $600 million in investment over 4 years to build a modern competitive network. The government also owns 30% of Telecel from the Vodafone deal and 100% of AT, and so in their eyes, this is just an internal housekeeping. They are combining two state-owned assets to create one valuable one. For them, it is the only logical, sustainable long-term solution. But the parliamentary opposition says this is a smokescreen. They claim the government is ignoring a much better, cleaner deal that was already on the table. Now, let's look at Rektron Group Incorporated. According to the opposition, in May 2025, this Canadian firm signed an MOU with the government. Their proposal was to acquire a 60% share controlling stake in AT for $150 million. The opposition's argument is simple. Why would you merge a national asset with another company, a company, Telecel, that has its own reported debts of over $400 million from the Vodafone buyout, when you have $150 million crash response package right in front of you? They are accusing the government of a lack of transparency, of rejecting a deal with a higher value to pursue a murky merger. They are demanding a full parliamentary inquiry to stop the merger and find out why the Rektron deal was dismissed. And so if you were wondering why from September and we are now in November, the deal or the merger hasn't happened, the opposition is basically not in support on it, and so they have to work it out in parliament first before it works out. And so the whole situation got even more confusing when just days after the September 4th merger announcement, the Minister of Communication held another press conference and said it wasn't a merger but a force majeure situation, and the original merger announcements on the social media handles of the Ministry of Communications were deleted. This has created a crisis of confidence. Now, is the government pushing a bad deal, or is the opposition blocking a necessary life-saving surgery? While politicians and the executives fight in the boardrooms and in the parliament, there are real people stuck in the middle. We, the users. First, the 300 permanent employees of AT. They were told in September they would all be absorbed by Telecel. Now, their future is in a limbo. Secondly, the 3.3 million AT subscribers. Right now, they are roaming on Telecel's network, and so This was an emergency fix, not a permanent solution, but till date, nothing has been done about it. It's like living in a guest room. It is functional, you can live with it, but it is not your home. How long can this last before service quality degrades? And finally, all of us, the Ghanaian customer, we are left with the worst of all worlds, a dominant number one MTN with no real pressure to lower their prices to improve their services, and two small struggling operators who are now in a state of suspended animation. This brings us to today, November 2025, and this situation is a state's mail. The government needs to solve the AT problem. It is bleeding taxpayers' money. The opposition has the power to block or delay the measure, demanding the Rektron deal be reconsidered. The fate of AT now rests on the outcome of this political fight. Will Parliament halt the measure, or will the Rektron deal be brought back to the table? Or will the government find a way to push the measure plan through? This is more than just a corporate story. It is a choice about the fundamental structure of Ghana's digital future. Do we want a market with one giant and a collection of dying competitors to risk a controversial, messy government-forced marriage to create a single powerful number two? The Rektron deal offers immediate cash, but perhaps no long-term skill. The Telecel merger offers skill, but with it comes a massive debt and a complete lack of transparency. There are no easy answers here, but one thing is clear. The number one company that nobody wanted is now at the center of a 150 million battle, and the outcome will determine what it costs to make a call, to use data, and to send money in Ghana for the next decade. What do you think is the right move? Is the government right to force a measure for scale, or is the opposition right to demand we take the $150 million? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. This story is far from over. If you found this video helpful, please like this video, subscribe, and put us on post notifications so that whenever we drop more awesome content like this, you would be notified. So meet again. My name is Apia. I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.